I've just returned from India. I've brought back a chest infection, which has been pretty bad and which has given me lots of thinking to do in the nights when I couldn't sleep, and which worried me quite a bit when it led to a high fever while I was in the Indian countryside in Nali, and wondered whether I would ever make it out of there again. So, well, it's been a wonderful journey, and I feel immensely privileged to have been able to undertake it. It's not been without its challenges. And the main challenges have been to become humbled by the understanding of just how much poverty so many people in this world live in. But it isn't that I didn't know that before. It is that I've understood something new about it, which is that I and we impose our own standards on that situation. We assume that only if people live in the way that we have organized for ourselves, the kind of way where we own a lot of stuff and we consume a lot of stuff, is the right way, when actually there are millions and millions of people who live in very modest conditions and who clearly derive as much well-being from that as many of us find it even hard to do in much more privileged conditions. So it's made me question privilege in a new way. It's made me understand that some of the very basic things that I've seen so many people living with, and the way they organize their lives, living in very simple stone houses, very basic fires on the ground, 2 goats and a cow in the house, doing some basic craft like pulling cotton apart or weaving something in silk or in cotton, and surviving by milking the cow and surviving by eating simple meals cooked on a very, very simple stove in a simple pan. Something about the simplicity of that lifestyle that it is so easy to condemn as not good enough, but which actually opened my eyes to some of the fundamental necessities of life, which is that we feel contented, sufficiently surrounded by loved ones and sufficient comforts to survive, and that we actually focus our daily life on the values that we want to live with. So the kind of devotional nature of that way of life, where people dedicate their life to their various divinities and their various values that they believe in and stay true to, is really what has humbled me. It is to discover that this very fundamental, simple focus on what is good and what is true and what is really necessary for a good human life is far more important than many other things. Now, let me not romanticize and idealize the situation. Of course, there are many fundamental necessities like clean water that are needed. And in sort of healthcare, there are some basic support systems that people need that they don't always have in place either. And so I am pleased that I contribute to something like Oxfam every year, and to recognize these water pumps they've put in everywhere. I have found that encouraging, because I can see what a difference it makes when there is so much pollution everywhere and so many difficulties for people to access clean water. That is obviously a very fundamental thing. And that too has made me think a lot, because what are we doing? In our society, we're creating more and more pollution, and our easy access to clean water is often in jeopardy now too. So much to think about and so much to learn from these very simple experiences and observations I have made. So pleased to have been able to converse with people, to really relate to them, to really understand their way of life in a way I would otherwise never have been able to do. As I absorb some of these bacteria and viruses that I have caught, some more, I will also absorb some of these new reflections and these new thoughts, and I am sure it will influence me for many years to come. Thank you, India. Thank you, people of India. Thank you for making me think again.